The problem with those style feeders is you have to come out here at least once a day. I just lease it from her. I lease land from my wife. That's her land. To do it all over again, I would start off with sheep. Sheep and chickens. Those are the two that I would start off with a no-brainer, no thinking about it, do it strategy. All right, guys, starting a homestead or a farm in 2026. Today we are going to go over the what I would do different and the things I would just completely leave alone. So one thing I would start, if you're going to start a homestead in 2026, figure out how much land you have to play with. So most people that start like a homestead is going to be like in their backyard, or is going to be more or less, you know, on a small scale until you get to where you get the money where you can move to something bigger. So back in 2019, I bought this house behind me and I bought an acre of land, or acre and a half of land. I had the option to buy the 11 acres behind me, but at the time the bank just wouldn't let me do it. And then later on I figured out I could have, but by then it had already sold. So we started out with an acre and a half of land right here. For me at the time it was big enough, but the mindset that I've always had is I always want more. You know, that's I guess my biggest downfall for me is I've always wanted more, basically is what I'm saying. So the guy that bought it, I always told him, I said, dude, if you ever sell it, call me. I will buy it. So a couple years down the road, we had done built a bunch of these fences. I had just built this barn. I tell you, I had just built this barn right here. And he called me. He said, hey, I'm about to sell out. I'm sorry. Right before I built the barn, he called me and told me he was going to sell. He was like, dude, I'm going to sell it. I don't want it anymore. Do you want to buy it? Because that barn right there, me buying that land was a big deal for me building that barn right there because of the way I was going to position it. Before I knew it, Mara was listening to the phone call also. Before I knew it, she done walked in one afternoon and had the paperwork where she done bought the dang land. So that's Mara's land way back there. I just lease it from her. I lease land from my wife. That's her land. But start out small. You get your feet wet, figure out what your game plan is. My game plan was always, I want to have my own farm. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. I've always wanted my own farm. I've always been to 4-H and FFA and all that. You know, I grew a garden at Dad's house most years and just trying to figure it out. I wanted my own farm, so we started out, by the grace of God, you know, we started out small and worked our way up. It's always easier to work your way up than it is to work your way down. Ask me how I know. I know. One thing, starting out with animals in 2026, what would I do that I wish I would have known back then what I know now? Chickens is a must on my farm. They just are. It's just the way it is. Most farmstead channels I've seen says that if they had to go back and do it all over again, they wouldn't have chickens. I'm sorry, I'm filming on my phone. You gotta work with me a little bit. I feel like I should be looking way over here. They said they wouldn't start out with chickens just because the simple fact that chicken is more grain reliant. To me, that is false. You can make a chicken, a duck, or a geese, a goose. You can make them grain reliant, just like you can make sheep, cows, and goats and all that grain reliant. I mean, it's just the way it is. For about 2 years, till first part of this year, our chickens were completely grass-fed. We didn't give out grain. I might hand out some corn once a month just to get them to scatter around a little bit. But other than that, I only started feeding grain this year. I only started feeding chicken feed when I started feeding chicken feed, and we went with I tried to go with the best right off the bat, but it was just really expensive. But if you're going to go into chickens, do your due diligence, do your research, figure it out. We have a bunch of different breeds for the farm. That really isn't that good because not all of them lay every day. But to me, I like a lot of color. You know, a bunch of different colors. We've crossbred a bunch of these chickens. Let's see here, that chicken right there. Well, she's done walked off. Those two right there, you can't really see because actually those four right there, there's 4 white chickens we hatched out. The biggest thing with my farm, I like to keep my kids involved. So everything here, like they would be out here with me right now if it wasn't for the simple fact they need to take a nap. But chickens are not that bad. They're not that expensive. We get a really good price for our eggs when we sell them. Just right off the bat, we get $5 a dozen when we sell our chicken eggs. I get close to $7 a dozen when I sell my duck eggs. The reason my eggs are so expensive, we feed a really expensive feed. Hey, you want me to do a video on feed, on the best chicken feeds to feed? Y'all comment down below. I will be more than willing to do that. But we do feed a really expensive feed, a really healthy feed for the birds, and it's made a world of difference. And I think we get close to 4 to 5 dozen eggs a week now. Like I said, not all my chickens are laying right now, but I would say a solid 75% are. We still have a bunch of young ones and a bunch that are out running around. But long story short, for my farm, would I have chickens if I had to do it all over again? Yes. They're a great income source. They are you don't have to do nothing with chickens, guys. I've said that a million times before. You don't have to do nothing with them. The only time I mess with the chickens is when I'm feeding them, when I'm filling up their water, or if I'm moving this fence. Now this fence is a must. We used to free range our chickens till the predators got bad. And our main predator was that road out there. People would just hit them. So I bought this fence. There's a link in the description if you want to buy some. Vivor's electric fencing. But to move on, I feel like I've been talking way too long on this subject. Chickens, yes, I would have again on my farm if I had to do it all over again tomorrow for 2026. So for a long time, we used that style water and that style feeder. See if you can, y'all get the gist. Yeah, right there. The problem that I ran into that, hopefully I'm not blurry or anything. The problem with those style feeders is you have to come out here at least once a day. You have to come out here at least once a day and fill them up. During the summertime, we live in South Alabama. We was having to come out here. When I left first thing in the morning, I would be filling them up, and when I got home that afternoon, I'd be filling them up again. Same way with the feed. Because when we started doing this right here, I had a bunch of those little feeders, and it was an everyday thing. I mean, no doubt. They're automatically going to go to that feed. That's just, I mean, think about you. You get home in the afternoon, what do? You get a snack. That's what it is. You sitting at home all day, what do? You get a snack. We did upgrade, though, because I am one person, and I preach about this, let everything be self-sufficient. Let it do its thing. So I upgraded to that watering system right there. See if it is. Can we zoom? That watering system right there. It's a gravity flow, and we swapped over to these buckets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I can feed a 50-pound sack of feed per 2 buckets. There's 3 buckets in here with a big group, and that normally lasts them almost a week. On good green grass, I can get right at a week out of 2 buckets of feed. And that's 25 pounds a bucket. The watering system, on the other hand, I have ducks and I have geese. They have a swimming pool back there, but they like to just bathe in it. They like to come play in the water. That's the reason there's a big water stain right there, or a big water puddle. That's because of them dang ducks. So they go through a lot more water. But with just the chickens, I got a 17-gallon water tote up top, on top of the coop. It gravity flows to there. It normally lasts 2 to 3 days. So that ain't bad versus a 5-gallon water you're having to come out here twice a day, 3 times a day to refill. I think that's it. If y'all want a video on the coops, y'all comment down below. I'll do a video on that too. But that's chickens. So long story short, go ahead and spend, those feeders for $30 for 8 of them. Go ahead and spend the money. past Seth, I wish I'd knew now, or knew then what I knew now, because I would have upgraded in a heartbeat. The watering system, that'd have been a no-brainer. Let's see here. But the coops, on the other hand, I have 2 giant coops. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't build 2 giant coops. I would take that peanut wagon right there, and I would have built me a coop on wheels so I could pull it around the yard. When you build a stationary coop like this right here, if you're in your backyard, that's one thing. But eventually, I got a feeling that peanut wagon is going to become a chicken coop, and we'll be rotationally grazing these, just like I'm about to show you what else we do. Let's see here, 2026, do's and don'ts. The fence, my high tensile electric fence, would be a stay, be a keep. It's easy to put up. The only problem I have out of it is when there's something on the fence or we have a power outage. It's the only problem. Here, 2026, we got pigs. I'm glad I didn't do pigs back then. We had these little Juliana pigs. Let's see here. They're like the pigs they have at Roll King. The little miniature pigs. They're not bad. Somebody gave them to me, so that's the reason we have them. That's another thing too. If you're getting started at animals, there's a bunch of groups on Facebook that they're free animals, and most of the time it's just people moving and they can't take their animals with them, so they just give them away. So keep your eye out on Facebook. Craigslist is a big one. You gotta watch Craigslist, though. There's some creepy people on there. But earlier I was talking about our first paddock we built is right there. Right there. You gonna zoom? There we go. One thing I can really say, so I've built everything here. Every pen that's here. The only thing I didn't build was a house and a barn. I built all the pens in the barn. Everything to do with inside the barn I built. We have a feedlot pen right here for when we raise little steers. So my biggest thing, and I watch a bunch of farmers and ranchers on YouTube, and I pick up a lot of ideas from them. When you're building your pens, if you're gonna have big animals, like we're about to start a rotationally grazing deal back here. You can't see it because it's blurred out. My biggest thing is making my life easier when I have to move animals. So one way that I do that, so you have the original pen stop up front. You can go through the barn, run the animals through the barn, and come this way. There's a gate right there where they can come into this pasture. Same way with this pen. They can go up the little lane into the barn. They can come out of this gate into this pasture. This pasture leads all the way down yonder to a gate that goes out of that pasture. And it also comes up to the feedlot. There's a gate right there that goes to this pasture. And then there's a makeshift pasture through that gate. Lord have mercy. Right there. And then you got the big gate down there for the big pasture. If you think about it, go ahead and do it. Make your life easier. There's one thing about owning a farm. There's nothing like just being a pain to have to move animals. Alright guys, so another thing about running a farm, farmstead, homestead, make your life easier. One way that I do that, and I just got it, and it's been the best thing since sliced bread. This little water trailer behind me. I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. Alright guys, so this little water trailer behind me, back a while ago when I was talking about the pigs, things for free. You got to find, if you're going to start out doing this, don't sit here and spend a whole bunch of money on stuff that you're not going to use. I've been there. I've done that. I bought animals and bought up a whole bunch of stuff just for them and not even keep them that long, or they die, or that's another thing. You're going to deal with some loss on a farm. even on a homestead, you're going to deal with loss. Normally I pull this with the side-by-side, but yesterday was opening season for Dad, for deer season. Hold on, guys. There we go. Was opening season, so he's got the side-by-side. So we were using the truck to pull the little water wagon around. You can kind of see it right there. I gotta get this thing turned around. I gotta move their water trough anyway. But this little trailer I got, it was an old grill trailer. There's a big old grill mounted to it. I got it from the place I used to work at, and they were like, "Hey," I was like, "Hey, you want to sell that that little grill trailer?" And they were like, huh, "If you take it and get rid of it, you can have it." I'm like, "That's a no-brainer." So, get y'all set up right here. Oof, that sun is bright this afternoon. Let me tell you. So they're like, "Hey, if you get rid of it, you can have it." So I loaded up on a little trailer, on our utility trailer, brought it home, got the grill off of it, and I'll show y'all. Let me get their water trough. I do have to order the piece for it to connect the water hose up to it, to the IBC tote. But let me show y'all this. So the only thing I wanted it for was this. Put the IBC tote on it. But like I said, it's like an old little camper trailer type deal, little pop-up camper trailer. It's got custom bucket holders on the front. Came with a toolbox on the front. The only thing in this whole setup that I had to buy was that tote right there. And this tote right here cost me $55. So I am not complaining one singular bit. See if it'll hold right there. I wanted a water trailer. I didn't want to pay the big money for one. So you don't know if you don't ask. That's another big thing that everybody's always told me. If you see something you want, ask. What's the worst thing to say is no. So in this instance, hey, get out of the feed bucket. I would call you a silly goose, but y'all ain't gooses. Y'all's a sheepses. I try to give them a little bit of grain every time I come down here. But this is how I water the cows and the sheep. Cheap, inexpensive. That water trough holds, I think, 50 gallons. I filled it up a little too high today. If I would have filled it this high, I would have pulled it with a side-by-side. I would drain some out. But I think I put 160, 170 gallons in it. That truck don't know no difference. But I'll show y'all this. This is another thing too. Little feed trough. I had some scrap wood laying around, some scrap 2x6s. I built a little feed trough. You don't have to sit here and go to Rural King or Tractor Supply and buy the most expensive stuff to get started. I mean, I've technically been started for a few years. Just I haven't really gotten there yet for some reason. Oh, but you can't sit here and blow all your profit on stuff you can build out of scraps. I mean, it's like this trailer. If I was gonna buy a water trailer today, it'd be $5,000 for something I built for $55 and a little bit of gas money. Come on. Come on, sheepses. So one thing, I guess the water trailer ain't really the water trailer. The water trailer is a must. I wish I've thought about this for many years, just trying to figure out how I was going to do it. But I finally figured it out, and I did it. And thanks to the good Lord above, and we got her done. But one thing, if I was to start all over tomorrow, the animals that I would start out with, we raised mama cows. Let me tell you something about mama cows. We bought a 10-head group of black Angus. There was a couple Charolais and a couple red Charolais cross mix, whatever. We had them on this 5-acre field. This 5-acre field was growed up, and they cleared it within a couple weeks of being here. Mama cows, big mama cows, are really expensive on the pocketbook, especially if you don't have the land. We were going through 2 to 3 bales a week at $60 a bale. It finally got down to the point to where I looked at Mara. We had lost 3 of our cows. This is another thing. When I bought my cows, I had a note on them from the bank. I owed money on them. And I looked at her. I said, we're not going to make enough money by the time we pay the feed costs, the vet bills, and the payment on the cows themselves. So we sold. I sold out. I made a little bit of money. The money I made off of them, what did I buy with that money? I think we bought sheep. No, we bought sheep with the calf money. I did some upgrades somewhere. I couldn't tell you where. I did some upgrades. That's what I'm telling you. Don't sit here and blow all your profits on stupid stuff. I blew it on something. I couldn't tell you what I did and spend that money. Another thing, if I had to go back and start over at the end of the year and I clean slate, nothing there, the sheep is where I would start off with. Honest to God, I would start off with sheep. And people say, why? It's a simple fact that this 5-acre field right here, I could run roughly 30 sheep. No lie. And run them comfortably. And that's, good grazing and everything. Run them comfortably. I had 10 mama cows out here. They had it down in like I said, about 2 or 3 weeks, they had this whole place on the ground. Now, I didn't have nowhere else to put them, so I really didn't have a choice. And then I got some more land, built another fence, put some down there, put some here. But what I'm trying to tell you is the sheep are going to be more profitable. Now, we started out with 5 ewes and 2 rams. We're down to 3 ewes and 1 ram. We had a bad parasite problem. That was a me problem. That was my fault. That was not the sheep's fault. I didn't have this place ready to go yet. We're working on it now. I got them out here now eating on it just to eat up the stuff that is just there. I mean, they can be spread out far enough to where they're not bothering each other, not picking up parasites enough to really worry. As soon as I get this fence done, though, we'll be. But another thing you think about, too, with that one ewe right there that Jesse is chasing around, I'll get, hopefully, if the good Lord blesses us, and I believe he will, we should get at least 2 lambs off that one ewe. So, let's just say out of the 4 or the 3 ewes that we have, we get 6 lambs off of them. With those 6 lambs, if we got, just say, 3 more ewes out of them, I can sell those ewes for $300 a piece. I can sell the rest are rams. I can sell them for $150 a piece. I get my money back out of them. Paid for. They're already paid for. But I can get my money back out of them, and I can go reinvest in more sheep. That's the thing. They're more profitable to me than running cows with a feed bill. And not saying that we won't ever run cows again, because I would really love to, especially on the rotational grazing side of it, but I wouldn't start out with as many as I did. I'd probably start off with 3 or 4 just to look at. The mini cows, on the other hand, if you're starting a farmstead and you want mini cows, I like the Zebu. They're inexpensive. I say they're inexpensive. You can pick them up as calves for, I think we paid $1,000 for Josephine. Let's see here, and we paid $600 or $700 for Bruce when we had him. They're not bad. They're inexpensive. If you're in the right market, in the right area, you can pretty much make your money back off of them because people want them. But we're going to try to eat one. One day we're going to have a bull. I'm going to cut him. We're going to be a steer. We're going to try to eat him. You're not going to get that much meat off of them. That's as big as she gets right there. If there was a 2,000-pound mama cow standing next to her, she would look like a calf. I've had calves bigger than her. But to do it all over again, I would start off with sheep. Sheep and chickens. Those are the two that I would start off with a no-brainer, no thinking about it, do it strategy. Because, I mean, you look at them, they come to a bucket. I finally got them trained to come to a bucket. But, guys, what else? Fencing. I think I mentioned fencing earlier. Here on the farm, I run a 4-strand high-tensile fence around the perimeter. Electrified fence. To me, that is the only fence to go with. It's inexpensive. So inexpensive, you can buy at Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply, I need a sponsorship for this. Okay? At Tractor Supply, I can buy a 4,000-foot spool of high-tensile wire for like $130. It's 4,000 feet. To do this whole bottom section, I think it took 2 spools. That's running a 4-strand fence. Like I said, it's inexpensive. Where you get your real money tied up at building a fence is going to be your T-post, because T-post is high now. That's one of the reasons back here, if you see these little white spigots right here, these little white fence posts that's blurred out. That's the reason we went with those. I got those for $2.09 a piece, because Tractor Supply price matched. But your 6-foot T-post nowadays is going to run you about $5 a piece. You can get a bundle for like $25. I don't think I mentioned this, but the corner post that I use on this fence is, I want to say it was 8-inch well pipe, 10-foot sticks of 8-inch well pipe. Those ran me about $40 a piece. The wooden posts that I use, they're like $15, $20 a piece. They're not that bad. Insulators aren't that pricey. Winches, I use a bunch. I like to get you can play the guitar on my fence. You understand me? So I got winches everywhere pulling the fence tight. But if you want to build a fence on a budget and you're not covering that much ground, there's going to be a video come out soon. So go ahead and like and subscribe. You got to do that. By the way, we're trying to hit 5,000 subs by the end of the year, so go ahead and hit that button. Right over here, there's a T-post, and there's these white little fence posts. They're poly posts, plastic. They last, I think, 10 years, I think. It's the best way to go. And let me show you this too. This is the fence wire. We're not using high tensile fence on this. We're using poly fence. We're going the cheaper route. So this is the poly fence that I'm using. This is a 1,320-foot roll. I initially bought a 5,200-foot roll. It was like $80 on Amazon. Link in the description. Got this at Tractor Supply today. This alone was $50 by itself, and this was a third of the footage. So, bunch of stuff you can get on Amazon. The poly post I bought at Tractor Supply, and fence wire and this bundle I bought at Amazon. So, let's see here. So, if you're going to build a perimeter fence, high tensile it all. If you're going through wooded areas, the sheep and goat fence I heard works really good. It's really expensive. A 300-foot roll of that is like $350, I believe, last time I looked. So you'll probably never see sheep and goat wire on this farm unless I win the lottery by chance. And there's a little 1-acre field down here. See that little opening right there? Yeah, little opening down there. I know it's right there. Right there. There's a 1-acre field down there. It gets covered in kudzu every year. That's the reason we don't do nothing with it. If I had the money to do fencing down there, I would run sheep and goat fence. just because high tensile would just ground out all the time, be a nuisance to deal with. But fencing wise, high tensile it all the way, I'd do it again, no doubt. But guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope it turned out good. I've had to make this video 3 times, or no, about a dozen times, because I keep messing it up. I ramble a lot, like I'm doing now. But guys, if you don't mind, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Ooh, I got to hit y'all with, I'll type in the verse of the video right here, because I'm using my phone to film right now. So hopefully, better quality. Guys, just make sure you like and subscribe, comment down below, share, follow us on Facebook and TikTok, subscribe on YouTube. We're trying our every Thursday schedule right now. So guys, if that works good, we'll keep doing it. If it don't work good, we'll find a different day to post on. So guys, thanks for watching. Remember, Jesus loves you. God bless you. Start your farmstead. Don't be scared to do it. I'm telling you, it's fun. All jokes aside, like I said earlier, I keep my kids involved in it. That's been one of the biggest blessings. Brooks, I'll throw a little clip right now. Or I'll go look at my shorts. There's a short I just posted yesterday. Being Saturday, it was Brooks out here messing around with the sheep and the cows. The boy is scared of a dog, but he'll come out here and mess around with all these sheep and Josephine and Jesse and the pigs. He don't care about the farm animals. Guys, our next generation, we rely on them to make it happen. So keep them involved. Get them excited about it. It's the only way it's going to work. If we don't keep it going, it's just going to die off, and there's not going to be any left. So guys, thanks for watching. Find something that God designed you for. Do something that you get excited for. And we will see you on the next one.